The Great Hall of the Nexus Station was the most beautiful place in the known galaxy. Its walls were made of living crystal that changed color with the emotions of those inside. The ceiling opened to show the stars themselves, millions of tiny lights that had watched over countless meetings for thousands of years. Today, the crystals glowed a nervous orange. Something important was about to happen. Representatives from 12 ancient species sat in their designated places. Each species had ruled the stars for longer than most civilizations existed. The Viridians, tall beings with skin that glowed like deep ocean water, had traveled between stars when Earth was still covered in ice. The Kethrani, small creatures with 4 arms and eyes like black pearls, had built empires when humans still lived in caves. The Mordith, silent giants made of living stone, had seen sons born and die. These were the rulers of the galaxy, the Galactic Council. They decided which species would rise and which would fall. They controlled trade, war, and peace across 1,000,000 worlds. But today, they waited like children about to be scolded. The elders were coming. No one knew exactly what the elders were. They appeared as balls of pure light, floating and pulsing with colors that had no names. Some said they were the first species to ever exist. Being so old, they had forgotten what it meant to have bodies. Others said they were something else entirely, watchers placed in the universe to observe and record everything that happened. The elders rarely spoke to the council. When they did, it meant something terrible was coming. Ambassador Telos of the Viridian Collective shifted in his seat. His bioluminescent tendrils, which hung from his head like glowing hair, pulsed with impatience. He was over 3,000 years old, one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. He did not like waiting. Perhaps they have changed their minds, he said to the Kethrani representative beside him. Perhaps this meeting is not necessary. The Kethrani, whose name was Vex, clicked her mandibles nervously. The elders do not change their minds. They do not make mistakes. If they called us here, they have something important to say. The air in the center of the chamber began to shimmer. The crystals on the walls flickered, their orange glow shifting to deep purple. A sound filled the room, something between music and thunder, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Elder Luminara appeared. She was a sphere of golden light, larger than any of the representatives present. Inside her form, smaller lights danced and swirled like thoughts made visible. When she spoke, her voice did not come from any single point. It simply existed, appearing inside every mind at once. Council members, Luminara said. We come with a warning. Telos leaned forward. We are honored by your presence, Elder. What threatens the peace of the galaxy? Not a threat, Luminara replied. A change. We speak of the species you call humanity. A murmur went through the chamber. Humanity, the young species from the small blue planet at the edge of the galaxy. The Council had discovered them only 200 years ago, when their primitive radio signals first reached the stars. They had been watching Earth ever since, studying these strange creatures who built machines and waged wars and dreamed of touching the sky. The humans? Telos laughed, his tendrils flashing with amusement. Elder, with respect, the humans are children. They have barely left their own world. They play with nuclear fire and think themselves powerful. What concern are they to us? You do not understand, Luminara said. Her light pulsed brighter. When we first observed humanity, they lived in wooden houses and traveled on animals. That was only a moment ago, by our measurement of time. Now they split atoms and send machines to other planets. A moment? Vex asked. 500 of their years. Less than the blink of an eye. The chamber fell silent. 500 years was nothing. Most species took 10,000 years just to discover fire. 100,000 to reach the stars. The Viridians themselves had needed 2 million years to achieve what humans had done in 5 centuries. This is their nature, Luminara continued. They do not grow like other species. They do not slowly climb the ladder of progress. They run, they leap. They fall and get up and run again. We have never seen anything like them. Telos waved a dismissive tendril. They are fast learners. This is known. But they are also violent and divided. They fight among themselves constantly. They will destroy themselves long before they become a threat to anyone. That is what we believed, Luminara said. We were wrong. Another elder appeared beside Luminara. This one, a sphere of deep blue light. It spoke with a voice like falling water. We have watched them closely these past decades. They do fight. They do divide. But when faced with challenges beyond themselves, they unite with a speed that defies understanding. Their wars become collaborations. Their enemies become allies. It is as if conflict itself makes them stronger. You waited too long, Luminara said directly to the council. While you debated whether to make contact, they advanced. While you observed from the shadows, they learned to see in the dark. The window to contain them has closed. Telos stood, his massive form towering over the other representatives. Contain them? You speak as if they are a disease to be controlled. They are simply another young species finding their place in the galaxy. We will guide them as we have guided others. You cannot guide what you cannot catch, the Blue Elder replied. What would you have us do? Asked the Mortith representative, his voice like grinding stone. Destroy them? We are not murderers of children. We do not ask you to destroy them, Luminara said. We do not ask you to do anything. We simply tell you what is true. The humans you see today are not the humans of tomorrow. They are already building ships that travel faster than your own. They are already developing weapons that your shields cannot stop. They are already dreaming of the stars, and when humans dream, they make their dreams real. Impossible, Telos said. We have watched them. Their technology is primitive. Their ships are slow and clumsy. They cannot threaten us. You see what they allow you to see, Luminara replied. Do you think they do not know you watch them? They learned of your observation satellites decades ago. They chose not to reveal this knowledge. They chose to let you think them weak. The crystals on the walls shifted to deep red, reflecting the sudden fear that filled the chamber. Why? Vex asked. Why would they hide their true capabilities? Because that is what humans do. They watch. They wait. They learn. And when they are ready, they act. Luminara's light began to fade. We have delivered our warning. What you do with it is your choice. But know this, the humans will not wait for your permission to claim their place among the stars. They have already begun. The elders vanished as quickly as they had appeared, leaving only the echo of their words behind. For a long moment, no one spoke. The crystals slowly returned to their nervous orange glow. Finally, Telos broke the silence. The elders are ancient, he said. Perhaps too ancient. They see patterns where none exist. Humanity is a curiosity, nothing more. We have ruled this galaxy for millions of years. We will not be frightened by a species that has barely learned to walk. Most of the council nodded in agreement. The fear faded, replaced by the comfortable arrogance of beings who had never faced a true challenge. Only Vex remained troubled. She had studied humanity more closely than most, and she had seen something in their eyes that frightened her. Not hatred, not greed. Something far more dangerous, hope. Humans hoped with a fire that burned brighter than any sun. They hoped even when hope was foolish. They hoped even when they had every reason to despair. And that hope drove them forward, always forward, never stopping, never satisfied. The elders were right to be concerned. Vex thought as the council meeting ended. But it was already too late. The humans were coming, and the galaxy would never be the same. Commander Una pressed her face against the viewing port of her ship and watched the small blue planet below, Earth, home of the humans. The world that the elders feared so much. It did not look dangerous. It looked beautiful. Swirls of white clouds danced across blue oceans. Green and brown land stretched between the waters. Tiny lights glittered on the night side, showing where the humans built their cities. From up here, it seemed peaceful, quiet, harmless, but Una knew better than to trust appearances. She had commanded the reconnaissance vessel Silent Watcher for over 200 years. She had observed dozens of species, studied their weapons and their weaknesses, and reported everything back to the Galactic Council. She was very good at her job, and right now, her job was to prove the elders wrong. The council had sent her here 3 years ago, shortly after the elders' warning. Her mission was simple. Watch the humans. Study their military capabilities. Find proof that they were as primitive and harmless as the council believed. So far, she had found exactly that. Human ships were slow and clumsy things, burning chemical fuel like animals burning food for energy. Their weapons were powerful but crude, explosives and projectiles that any proper shield could stop. Their communication systems leaked signals into space, like a child shouting secrets in a crowded room. They were not a threat. They were barely a footnote. Una turned away from the viewing port and walked to her command chair. The Silent Watcher was one of the finest ships in the Viridian fleet. Its hull was coated with material that bent light around it, making it invisible to any known sensor. Its engines were so quiet that they could not be heard, even in atmosphere. It had observed human activity from close orbit for 3 years, and no human had ever suspected it was there. Status report, Una said to her second officer, a young Viridian named Corin. All systems normal, Commander. The humans continue their usual activities. Their Mars colony has grown by 12% this cycle. Their orbital stations show no unusual military activity. Una nodded. The humans had expanded beyond their home world in the last few decades, building colonies on the red planet they called Mars and the moons of their larger gas planets. It was impressive for such a young species, but still nothing compared to the Council's 1,000-world empire. Any response to our observation probes? None, Commander. They remain unaware of our presence. Good. The Council wanted proof that humans pose no danger. 3 years of successful observation should be enough. Una began composing her final report in her mind. The elders were wrong. Humanity was not a threat. The Council could continue its peaceful observation without concern. Then the alarm sounded. It was a soft chime, almost polite, but Una knew instantly what it meant. Something had detected them. Report, she demanded, rising from her chair. Corin's tendrils went pale with shock. Commander, we have been painted by a sensor beam. Origin is a human satellite in high orbit. Impossible. Our stealth systems are active. No sensor technology in the galaxy can detect us. The sensor beam is unlike anything in our database. It appears to use quantum entanglement principles that we have never seen before. Una felt her blood run cold. Quantum sensors. The humans had quantum sensors. That technology was supposed to be centuries beyond their capability. Go dark, she ordered. Full silent running. Prepare to leave orbit. But before the Silent Watcher could move, something appeared on the main display. A ship. A human ship, coming fast from behind the planet's moon. It was not like the clumsy vessels Una had observed for 3 years. It was sleek and angular, built for speed and purpose. Its hull was covered in strange patterns that seemed to shift and change as she watched. And it was fast. So impossibly fast. Commander, Corinne whispered. That ship is using a drive system we have never encountered. It is accelerating at forces that should destroy any crew inside. How are they surviving? Unknown. We have no data on this technology. The human ship came to a stop a short distance from the Silent Watcher. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a light on the communication panel began to blink. They were being hailed. Una stared at the blinking light. This was not supposed to happen. The Council had clear rules about contact with primitive species. Observation only. No communication. No interference. No revealing of galactic civilization until the species was deemed ready. But the humans had found them. They had tracked an invisible ship with impossible sensors. They had responded with a vessel that should not exist. The rules no longer seemed to apply. Una pressed the communication button. A face appeared on her screen. It was a human male, young by their species standards, with black hair and dark eyes that sparkled with amusement. He wore a simple uniform with a small symbol on his chest, a planet Earth surrounded by stars. He smiled warmly. "Good afternoon," the human said. "My name is Captain Do-Yoon of the Earth Defense Fleet. We have been tracking your vessel for approximately 14 months. I apologize for the delay in making contact, but we wanted to be sure we understood your technology before approaching. Would you like to come aboard for tea?" Una could not speak. 14 months. They had known about her ship for 14 months. They had watched her watching them, and they had said nothing. Done nothing. Until now. "I see I have surprised you," Do-Yoon continued, still smiling. "Please, do not be alarmed. We mean you no harm. We are simply curious about our new neighbors. The galaxy is a big place, and we have many questions." Una found her voice. "You tracked us. You found an invisible ship with sensors that should not exist." "Yes, we found pieces of one of your observation probes about 40 years ago. It crashed in our ocean during a storm. We have been studying it ever since." The captain shrugged. "It took us a long time to understand the stealth technology, but once we did, finding the ship using it was not so difficult. You are very good at hiding, but we are very good at seeking. 40 years. They had been studying Viridian technology for 40 years, and they had told no one. They had let the Council think they were primitive, let them send observation ships and probes, all while learning and advancing in secret. The elders were right. The elders were absolutely right. I will come aboard," Una heard herself say. "I have questions as well." The human captain's smile grew wider. "Excellent. I will send a shuttle. And please, Commander, do not be afraid. We humans have a saying. There are no strangers, only friends we have not met yet. I hope today we can meet as friends." The communication ended, and Una sank back into her chair. Her mind raced with implications. Everything the Council believed about humanity was wrong. Their primitiveness was a mask. Their weakness was a disguise. They had been playing a game the galaxy did not even know existed, and they had won. An hour later, Una stepped onto the human ship. Captain Do-Yoon greeted her personally, guiding her through corridors that hummed with energy she could not identify. The crew watched her with curiosity, but not fear. They smiled and nodded as she passed, as if meeting an alien species was an everyday occurrence. Perhaps for them, it was. Do-Yoon led her to a small room with comfortable chairs and a window showing the stars. A pot of steaming liquid sat on a table between them. "Tea," he explained, pouring a cup. "A drink we have enjoyed for thousands of years. It helps with difficult conversations." Una took the cup. The liquid was warm and smelled of plants she did not recognize. She tasted it carefully. It was pleasant. "You knew we were watching," she said. "All this time, you knew." "Yes." Why did you not reveal yourselves? Why let us think you were weak? Dong-Hyun sipped his tea thoughtfully. Tell me, Commander, what happens to species that the Council considers a threat? Yuna did not answer. She did not need to. They both knew what happened. Containment, suppression, sometimes worse. We are a young species, Do-Hyun continued. We have made many mistakes in our short history, but we have also learned many lessons. One of the most important is this. When you were small and surrounded by giants, you do not announce yourself. You wait. You learn. You grow strong in the shadows. And now? You have revealed yourself now, because now we are ready. Do-Hyun set down his cup and met her eyes. We do not want war with the Council. We do not want conflict of any kind. But we will not be contained. We will not be suppressed. We are ready to take our place in the galaxy, and we hope to do so as friends, not enemies. Yuna thought of the Elder's warning, of the Council's dismissal, of everything she had believed about humanity. All wrong. All based on a fiction the humans had carefully created. The Council will not accept this, she said. They will see you as a threat. Perhaps. But threats can become allies, Commander. Enemies can become friends. We have learned this lesson too, many times in our history. He smiled again, that warm and infuriating smile. Will you carry our message back to your Council? Will you tell him that humanity comes in peace, but will not come in chains? Yuna looked at this strange young being, this representative of a species that had fooled the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. She thought of her mission, her duty, her loyalty to the Council. Then she thought of the fear in the Elder's voice when they spoke of humanity. Not fear of what humans would destroy, but fear of what they would become. I will carry your message, she said finally. But I do not know if they will listen. That is all we ask, Do-Hyun replied. The rest is up to them. 5 years had passed since Commander Yuna's report shook the Galactic Council. 5 years of debate and argument and fear. 5 years of watching humanity with new eyes, searching for the threat that the Elders had promised. But the threat never came. Instead, something far more dangerous appeared. Friendship. Trade Ambassador Suman adjusted her simple gray suit as her ship descended toward the Viridian homeworld. She was nervous, though she tried not to show it. This was her first diplomatic mission to an alien species, and she knew that everything she did would be watched and judged and remembered. The Viridian capital was a city of light. Buildings rose from the purple ocean like fingers reaching for the sky, each one glowing with soft bioluminescence. Streets floated on platforms of hardened water, and everywhere she looked, tall beings with glowing tendrils moved with graceful purpose. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It was wonderful. Ambassador Telos met her at the landing platform. He was even larger in person than he had appeared in the Council recordings, his presence filling the space around him like a storm filling the sky. His tendrils, which Suman had learned expressed emotion, pulsed with cautious orange. Ambassador Suman, he said, his voice deep and resonant. Welcome to Viridian Prime. I admit, we did not expect humans to request a trade delegation so soon. Suman bowed slightly, a gesture of respect she had practiced many times. Thank you for receiving us, Ambassador Telos. Humanity has much to learn from the Viridian people, and we hope we have something to offer in return. Telos made a sound that might have been amusement. What could a species so young offer to a civilization that has existed for millions of years? Suman smiled. She had expected this question. Would you like to see? She led him to her ship's cargo hold, where hundreds of containers waited. Inside them were things that had never existed in the galaxy before. Paintings from Earth's greatest artists. Recordings of music that had moved human hearts for centuries. Books translated into Viridian script, filled with stories of love and loss and triumph and tragedy. And coffee. This is a drink we have refined for 500 years, Suman explained, pouring a cup of dark liquid. It contains a substance we call caffeine. It increases alertness and focus. Many humans consider it essential for their daily lives. Tella studied the cup with suspicion before taking a careful sip. His tendrils flashed through several colors in rapid succession, ending on bright purple, an emotion Suman had not seen before. "What is this feeling?" he asked, his voice strangely quiet. "We call it being energized. Does it not occur naturally in your species?" "We have substances that provide focus, yes, but nothing like this. This is..." He took another sip. "This is remarkable. Within 3 months, coffee became the most requested trade good on Viridian Prime. Within 6 months, it had spread to 12 other worlds. Within a year, human trade routes stretched across 3 sectors of the galaxy, carrying not weapons or warships, but art and music and a bitter black drink that made the ancient species feel young again." The council watched and worried. This was not how young species were supposed to behave. On the mining world of Keth-4, a different kind of exchange was taking place. Engineer Hajun had arrived 6 months ago to study Kethrani mining technology. His hostess had expected him to steal their secrets, to copy their machines and methods as other species had done before. Instead, he asked questions. Endless questions about everything from their equipment to their families to the games their children played. The Kethrani, a species of small four-armed creatures who had worked the galaxy's richest mineral deposits for generations, found themselves charmed by this strange human. He listened when they spoke. He remembered their names. He brought gifts for their children, toys he had made himself from scrap metal and broken parts. And when he learned that their main reactor was failing, threatening to shut down their entire operation and starve their colony, he asked to help. "It is an old problem," said Elder Veth, the leader of the Kethrani mining collective. "The reactor was built by our ancestors 2,000 years ago. Its technology is beyond our understanding. When it dies, our colony dies with it." Ajahn studied the reactor for 3 weeks. He crawled through its corridors, traced its power flows, analyzed its components with instruments the Kethrani had never seen. He spoke to their historians and their engineers, piecing together fragments of knowledge that had been lost over centuries. Then he fixed it. Not with advanced human technology, not with secret knowledge stolen from the council. He fixed it with understanding, with patience, with the simple insight that the reactor's builders had made it to be maintained, and the maintenance codes were hidden in the patterns on its outer shell, waiting to be read by anyone who looked closely enough. The Kethrani wept when the reactor hummed back to life. Their colony was saved. Their children would not starve. And this strange human, this young creature from a species that had barely learned to walk among the stars, had done what their own people could not. "What payment do you require?" Elder Veth asked, her voice thick with emotion. Hejun shook his head. "No payment. I ask only for friendship and for access to your libraries. Your ancestors were great builders. I would like to learn from their wisdom." "Friendship," Veth repeated, as if the word was new to her. Perhaps it was. In the galaxy's long history, species had conquered and traded and allied. But friendship? That was rare. On Verdes Prime, a world covered in endless fields of engineered crops, Dr. Yunji faced a different challenge. A plague had struck the agricultural planet, a disease that rotted the crops from the inside and resisted every treatment the Verdisians had tried. Without their harvests, 100 worlds would face food shortages. Millions could die. Yunji was a xenobiologist, a scientist who studied alien life. She had come to Verdes Prime to research their unique farming techniques. When the plague struck, she chose to stay. "Your methods will not work," said Director Null, a tall being whose skin was the color of healthy soil. "We have tried everything. Our science is 10,000 years old. If we cannot solve this problem, no one can." Yoonji just smiled and began her work. She did not use Verdisian methods. She used human methods. Wild, creative, sometimes illogical methods that combined approaches no one had ever tried before. She tested 1,000 theories in 100 days. She failed more often than she succeeded, but each failure taught her something new, and she never stopped trying. On the 112th day, she found the answer. The plague was not a natural disease. It was an engineered one, created by the Verdisians' own ancestors as a failsafe in case their crops grew out of control. Over thousands of years, it had mutated, becoming active when it should have remained dormant. The cure was hidden in the original genetic code of the crops themselves, a shutdown sequence waiting to be activated. Yoonji shared her research freely. She refused patents. She refused payment. She asked only that the Verdisians remember humanity kindly, and that they shared their own knowledge in return. The crops recovered. The harvest was saved. And Director Null, who had dismissed humans as children playing at science, became one of their greatest defenders. Across the galaxy, stories like these multiplied. Humans appeared on 1,000 worlds, offering help and asking only for friendship in return. They fixed problems. They built bridges. They learned languages and customs and made themselves at home wherever they went. The council grew more afraid with each passing month. This was not conquest. Conquest they understood. This was something else. Something they had no word for. Admiral Tellus called an emergency session. He had been studying human expansion patterns, and what he found terrified him. "They are not taking territory," he reported to the assembled representatives. "They are taking hearts. Species that have been loyal to the council for millennia are now calling humans their closest friends. Our influence is not being destroyed. It is being replaced. What can we do?" asked the Mortith representative. "They have committed no crimes. They have violated no treaties. We cannot attack a species for being too friendly. Then we must find another way," Tellus said, "before it is too late." But deep in his heart, he suspected it was already too late. The humans had done something no army could do. They had made themselves loved. And against love, even the oldest empires had no defense. The Galactic Council had never invited a human to address them before. For millions of years, only the oldest and most powerful species had been granted that honor. To stand in the Great Hall of the Nexus Station, beneath the living crystals and the eternal stars, was a privilege reserved for those who had earned their place through centuries of achievement. But General Myri was not here because she had been invited. She was here because the council had no choice. The crystalline walls glowed a troubled shade of blue as Mireille walked to the center of the chamber. She was small compared to the beings around her. The Viridians towered above her like living mountains. The Mortith could have crushed her with a single stone finger. Even the Kithrani, the smallest of the council species, stood taller than her shoulders. But Mireille walked without fear. She had faced worse odds before. "Representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice calm and steady. "Thank you for agreeing to hear me. I know this is unusual. I know that many of you would prefer to never see a human in these halls. But what I have to say is too important to wait." Ambassador Tellus leaned forward, his tendrils pulsing with hostile orange. "You requested this audience, General. You demanded it, in fact. You sent messages to every council world promising revelations that would change everything. We are here. Speak." Mireille nodded. She touched a control on her wrist, and a holographic display flickered to life behind her. It showed a map of the galaxy, with tiny lights marking important locations. "You see humanity as children," she said. "This is understandable. Compared to your civilizations, we are infants taking our first steps. Our recorded history is barely 10,000 years old. Our time among the stars is measured in decades, not millennia. By your standards, we have accomplished nothing." "A fair assessment," Telos said. "Yet here you stand, demanding the attention of beings who ruled the stars when your ancestors were learning to make fire." "Yes, because you made a mistake. All of you, including the elders themselves." A murmur went through the chamber. No one spoke of the elders so casually. No one suggested they could make mistakes. "You assumed that because we were young, we were weak," Myra continued. "You assumed that because we were primitive, we were slow. You measured us by your own development, your own timelines, your own understanding of how species grow." She touched the control again. The galactic map changed, now showing highlighted points across dozens of systems. Human colonies on 47 worlds. Research stations in 12 systems. Trade agreements with over 200 species. All built in less than a century. Less than a single moment by your measurements of time. "We are aware of your expansion," said the Mortis representative, his voice like grinding stones. "It is impressive for one so young, but it does not threaten the foundations of the galaxy." "You are right," Myra said. "It does not threaten them. It has already changed them. And you did not notice because you were watching the wrong things." She touched the control once more. The map disappeared, replaced by streams of data. Population statistics, technological achievements, cultural exchanges, trade volumes, alliance networks. You watched our military capabilities because you expected us to conquer. But we have never been conquerors. Not in the way you understand. We do not take territory through force. We do not demand submission through power. We connect. We share. We grow. The data streams merged into a single image, a web of connections spreading across the galaxy, with Earth at its center. Thousands of threads linked human worlds to alien civilizations. Each thread representing a relationship, a partnership, a friendship. In the last 5 years, more species have formed positive relationships with humanity than with the Council in the last 10,000 years. Not because we forced them, not because we tricked them, because we offered something the Council never has. Tellus's tendrils flashed with anger. And what is that? What could humans possibly offer that the Council cannot? Myra smiled. It was a gentle smile, without mockery or pride. Equality. The chamber fell silent. The crystals on the walls flickered uncertainly. "The Council operates on hierarchy," Myra explained. "The oldest species rule. The youngest obey. Knowledge is hoarded. Power is protected. Every interaction is measured in terms of advantage and disadvantage. This is your way. It has worked for millions of years." She stepped forward, and something in her presence made even the largest beings in the room pay attention. "But it is not our way. When we meet a new species, we do not ask what they can give us. We ask what we can learn from them. We ask what we can share. We ask how we can help each other grow. This is what makes us different. This is what makes us dangerous." "Dangerous?" Vex of the Kethrani spoke up for the first time. "You just spoke of equality and sharing. How is that dangerous?" "Because it changes things," Myra replied. "Species who have spent centuries under the Council's shadow suddenly see another option. They see a galaxy where the young are not servants of the old, where knowledge flows freely, where strength comes from cooperation, not domination." She met Tellus's eyes directly. "You cannot stop this with weapons, Ambassador. You cannot sign treaties against it. You cannot pass laws to prevent it, because you cannot stop species from choosing hope over fear. And that is what humanity offers: hope. The holographic display shifted one final time, showing a simple graph. It tracked the Council's influence across the galaxy over the past 5 years. The line moved steadily downward. "This is not conquest," Myray said. "This is evolution. The galaxy is changing because it wants to change. We are simply the spark that started the fire." Tellus rose to his full height, his tendrils now bright red with fury. "You come into our hall, speak of our decline, and call it evolution? You are not sparks. You are parasites, feeding on the work of those who came before you." "Perhaps," Myray acknowledged calmly. "Or perhaps we are the children you should have raised, if you had remembered how. Your civilizations are old, Ambassador. So old that you have forgotten what it means to grow, to change, to become something new. We have not forgotten. We never will." She turned to address the entire chamber. "The elders were right. You cannot stop us now. But we never wanted to be stopped. We wanted to be welcomed. We wanted to walk beside you, not beneath you. We wanted to share the galaxy, not take it from you." She reached into her pocket and produced a small object, a sphere of polished wood, fitted together from pieces of many different colors. A puzzle from Earth, made by a human craftsman. On our world, we have a tradition. When meeting a new friend, we give gifts. Not to buy favor, not to create debt. Simply to say, "I thought of you. I wanted to share something beautiful." She set the sphere on the speaking platform. "This is my gift to the Council. It is made from wood of trees that grow on Earth. Each piece comes from a different forest, a different continent. Alone, they are just fragments. Together, they make something whole." She paused, letting her words settle into the silence. "That is what humanity offers. Not dominion, not submission. Partnership. The chance to build something new from all our different pieces. The choice is yours. You can see us as threats to be contained. Or you can see us as the friends you did not know you were waiting for." Myray stepped back from the platform. The chamber remained silent. Even Telos had no words. Finally, a voice spoke from the back of the hall. It was Vex, the Kethrani representative, who had remained troubled since the Elder's first warning. "You ask us to trust a species we barely know. You ask us to change ways that have served us for millennia. Why should we take such a risk?" Myray considered the question carefully before responding. "Because you are dying," she said softly. "Not in body, not in power, in spirit. Your civilizations are magnificent, but they are also frozen. You have achieved everything you set out to achieve, and now you simply continue, without purpose, without growth, without joy." She gestured to the wooden sphere on the platform. "Humanity is young. Puffy is young. We still remember what it feels like to grow, to discover, to hope for something better. We can share that feeling with you if you let us. We can remind you why the stars are worth reaching for." The crystals on the walls shifted slowly, their color changing from troubled blue to something softer, something warmer. "The question is not whether humanity will shape this galaxy," Myray concluded. "The question is whether we will shape it together. I hope, with all my heart, that your answer will be yes." She bowed once, a simple gesture of respect, and walked out of the chamber without waiting for a response. Behind her, the Council sat in stunned silence, watching the wooden sphere catch the starlight and glow like a small, perfect world. For the first time in 10,000 years, they had no idea what to do next. The vote took 3 days. 3 days of arguments and debates and ancient beings struggling with a decision that would reshape the galaxy forever. 3 days of fear fighting against hope, of tradition battling change, of the old world deciding whether to embrace the new. In the end, it was not even close. 27 species voted to grant humanity a seat on the Galactic Council. Only 4 voted against. And those 4, including Ambassador Telos himself, did so not out of hatred, but out of habit. They had spent so long protecting the old ways that they had forgotten how to imagine new ones. When the results were announced, the crystalline walls of the Nexus station blazed with colors that had not been seen in 10,000 years. Joy, hope, excitement. The ancient hall remembered feelings it had long ago abandoned, and it welcomed them back like old friends. Counselor Ji-woo stood at the central platform, the first human to hold the position. She was young, even by human standards, with kind eyes and steady hands. In those hands, she held a datapad containing her first proposal to the council, a plan for universal health care that would reach every inhabited world, regardless of species or political alignment. It was a bold proposal. Some called it impossible. But the humans had a way of making impossible things happen. The chamber was filled to capacity. Representatives from every council species had come to witness this moment. In the galleries above, thousands more watched through projection screens. Across the galaxy, billions more followed the event through communication networks that now carried human signals alongside the ancient frequencies of the elder races. Elder Luminara appeared without warning, her golden light filling the center of the chamber. The assembled beings fell silent instantly. The elders rarely appeared for council sessions. They had not done so since their warning 5 years ago. Council members, Luminara's voice echoed through every mind. We come to acknowledge what has happened, and to clarify what we said before. She drifted toward Ji-woo, her light casting warm shadows across the young counselor's face. We warned you about humanity. We said you could not stop them. Many of you took this as a threat. You thought we meant they would destroy you, conquer you, replace you with their own dominion. Luminara's light pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. We did not say humanity would destroy you. We said you could not stop them. There is a difference. You could not stop the sun from rising, but that does not mean the sun wishes you harm. She turned to face the entire assembly. We have watched countless species rise in this galaxy. Most reach for power. They see the stars as territory to be claimed, resources to be exploited, rivals to be defeated. Some reach for knowledge. They seek understanding for its own sake, building great libraries and academies that preserve wisdom across the ages. A few reach for transcendence. They try to become more than flesh and blood, to join the light as we have done. A second elder appeared beside Luminara, this one the deep blue color of a midnight ocean. A third followed, then a fourth, until 7 elders floated in the chamber, more than had ever been seen together. But humanity reaches for something else, Luminara continued. Something we have never seen before in all our watching. They reach for each other. The words hung in the air like music. Every challenge they face together. Every achievement they celebrate as one. When they found the stars, they did not ask how much they could take. They asked who they could meet, who they could help, who they could call friend. Luminara drifted even closer to Ji-woo, close enough that the young human could have reached out and touched her light. This is why you could not stop them. Not because they are stronger or smarter or more advanced. Because they carry something more powerful than any weapon. They carry connection. The simple, profound truth that no one has to be alone. That the universe is better shared. The crystals on the walls shifted to a pure, warm gold, matching Luminara's light. We have observed humanity for 150 of their years. In that time, we have seen them make terrible mistakes. We have seen them hurt each other, betray each other, nearly destroy themselves more than once. But we have also seen them forgive, heal, try again. No matter how many times they fell, they always reached out their hands to help each other up. The Blue Elder spoke next, its voice like falling water. This is what makes them dangerous. Not to you, but to the darkness that has crept into the galaxy over the long ages. The loneliness, the suspicion, the belief that every other being is a threat to be managed rather than a friend to be made. Humanity does not conquer planets, Luminara said. They conquer isolation. They defeat the silence between stars, not with fleets, but with laughter. With stories. With cups of a strange bitter drink that somehow makes everything better. A ripple of amusement passed through the chamber. Even Talus's tendrils flickered with something that might have been reluctant humor. We came here 5 years ago to warn you, Luminara concluded. Today we come to congratulate you. You have chosen well. You have accepted change instead of fighting it. You have opened your doors instead of building walls. This is wisdom. This is growth. This is what the galaxy needs. The elders began to fade, their light dimming like stars at dawn. Watch the humans closely, Luminara said, her voice growing distant. Not with fear, with hope. They will show you wonders you have forgotten. They will remind you why you first reached for the stars. And in doing so, they will heal wounds you did not know you carried. The last of the elders vanished, leaving only the warmth of their light behind. For a long moment, no one moved. Then, from somewhere in the galleries, a sound began. It was clapping, a human tradition, one that had spread to dozens of species in the past few years. One pair of hands, then 10, then 100, then thousands, filling the ancient hall with thunder. Jiwoo stood at the platform, tears on her cheeks, datapad clutched to her chest. She had come here to propose a healthcare initiative. She had not expected to witness the turning of an age. Admiral Talos watched from his place in the council seats. His tendrils had lost their hostile colors, replaced by something softer, something uncertain. He had fought against humanity for 5 years. He had seen them as parasites, as threats, as enemies to be contained. He had been wrong. Not completely wrong. His concerns had been valid. Humanity was dangerous. They did change everything they touched. But change was not the same as destruction. And what they were building might be better than what had existed before. Slowly, painfully, Talos raised his own hands and began to clap. It was an awkward gesture for a Viridian. His species did not applaud. But he had seen humans do it, and he understood what it meant. Acceptance, welcome, hope. Around him, other representatives followed his lead. The Mortis struck their stone hands together like mountains colliding. The Kathrani clicked their mandibles in rhythm. Even the most ancient and traditional species found ways to join the celebration. Jiwoo looked out at the chamber, at the hundreds of different beings united in this moment, and she smiled. This was what humanity had dreamed of. Not conquest. Not power. Connection. The simple truth that the universe was large and strange and sometimes frightening, but no one had to face it alone. She thought of Captain Do-Yun, who had made first contact with a smile and an offer of tea. She thought of Ambassador Suman, who had won the Viridians over with coffee and art. She thought of Engineer Heijun and Dr. Yunji, who had given everything they had to help species they had never met. She thought of General Mai Ray, who had walked into a room full of giants and reminded them what it meant to hope. All of them had done their part. All of them had carried a piece of humanity's greatest gift, the belief that tomorrow could be better than today if only you reached out your hand. Thank you, Jiwoo said when the applause finally faded. Thank you for this chance. Thank you for your trust. Humanity promises to honor it. Not with perfect wisdom. We are too young for that. But with sincere effort. With open hearts. with the simple commitment to always try to understand before we judge. She held up her datapad. This is my first proposal. It will not be my last. There is so much work to do, so much healing, so much building, but I believe we can do it together. She looked at Telos, meeting his ancient eyes across the chamber. All of us, together. Telos inclined his head, a gesture of respect from one of the oldest beings in the galaxy to one of the youngest. The crystals on the walls blazed with every color of the rainbow, reflecting the emotions of everyone present. Fear and hope, doubt and determination, endings and beginnings, all mixed together. A new era had begun. No one knew exactly what it would bring, but for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy was excited to find out. And somewhere, watching from a place beyond light and darkness, the elders smiled. They had been wrong about many things. They had underestimated humanity just as the council had. But they had also been right about the most important thing. The humans were special, not because they were strong or clever or lucky, because they cared, because they reached out, because they refused to give up on the dream that the universe could be a place of wonder instead of war. The stars burned on, eternal and patient, watching the small creatures below make their way toward something extraordinary. The journey was just beginning.